Hello everyone, I thought I'd do something different this time. I get a lot of questions asking what maps I think should return for Battlefield 6 or get remade in general, so I'm doing just that. In a two-part video series starting with this one, I'll give you my top 5 maps I'd like to see remastered in Battlefield 6, and in the next video, I'll give you the one map from every Battlefield game that I'd like to see return at some point. Let's get to it. Number 5. Docking Oil Fields. Hailing from Battlefield 2, Docking Oil Fields is a launch map of large scale featuring the full suite of the game's vehicles. Everything is here: jeeps, tanks, IFVs, mobile AAs, a transport helicopter, attack helicopter, fighter jet, and bomber. All of this brought constant sandbox gameplay to an epic battle over a massive oil field in China. With a total of 7 flags over a wide area, there was enough space for the vehicles to roam without becoming overbearing. Objectives were large, detailed, and distinct, which is an unfortunate rarity in most modern Battlefield games. These include the refinery, old city, power station, gas station, and central oil cisterns. With the power of the Frostbite engine, even more detail could be added to these points for greater experience, more cover, and new substantial destruction. The team deployments are nestled to the north and south and are far back enough to isolate themselves from the main battle, though the US side might need some extra terrain on the sides to help escape. Well built themselves, they would provide excellent headquarters for teams in a modern Battlefield game. With its gloomy aesthetic and immense potential, Docking Oil Fields could offer a larger, more strategic environment to Battlefield 6 and a wildly different take on the oil field combat theme in addition to Operation Firestorm. Number 4. Downtown. Many gamers long to see the return of Siege of Shanghai from Battlefield 4. But I would argue that Battlefield Hardline's Downtown not only fits the theme of Battlefield 6 perfectly, but is a far better map in general. I don't have a specific video on either map yet, so I can't dig into the finer detail, but here are the big selling points. Downtown takes place in, well, downtown LA. Given that New York City makes an appearance in the form of at least 2 maps of Battlefield 6, it would definitely fit the game's theme and offer a major urban layout which contrasts in both visual aesthetic and access to impactful verticality. Both cities may be teeming with skyscrapers, but unlike Siege of Shanghai, downtown centralizes the action into 3 primary towers of similar height. Each has their own rooftop access via elevators, while helicopters can drop players off from above. This trifecta enables counterplay from each other instead of only one building dominating all of the action or proving impossible to attack. While a few other skyscrapers are within the play area, they are largely inaccessible, keeping the rest of the action flowing at ground level. Tunnels, bridges, storefronts, and other urban construction are connected via a network of streets which allows vehicles to prowl at high speeds. These main roads could certainly accommodate the ground armor assets of tanks and IFVs. Between players fighting for the objectives around the city or in the central tower, action was intense and there was a constant up and down struggle as players dropped from the buildings or assaulted the towers. And in all of that fighting, destruction came in the form of parked cars exploding, the highway tunnel collapsing, or most impactfully, the huge construction crane crashing down into the battle below, opening up new pathing options without sacrificing the rooftop experience. Number 3. Azadi Palace. Coming from the Aftermath DLC in Battlefield 3, Azadi Palace is the definition of urban combat. The Tehran cityscape in which it is set provides one of the best layouts in the game, with 7 objectives split between the city district and the massive crumbling palace which dominates the southern section of the map. This scale allows for significant armor presence without restricting their movement, and allows them to attack and defend sections of the map without being overwhelmed by infantry. The intricate palace is largely isolated from these vehicles and provides the only major verticality and long sightlines in contrast to the street fighting to the north. The diversity of the environment combined with its larger size allows for well-defined objectives, protected spawn points, and balanced gameplay, making it one of the most stable and reliable maps of Battlefield 3 and the series. If it appeared in Battlefield 6, it would be a more open, strategic experience in contrast to the constant intensity of Siege of Cairo. Number 2. Operation Road Rage. In what I can only describe as an epic good time, this map from the Battlefield 2 Armored Fury expansion took the vehicular sandbox experience to new heights. This was among the first Battlefield levels to ever be set in North America, as it imagined a fictional invasion of Florida. Story aside, this large 5-flag map took place down a long stretch of highway with points of interest along the sides. Gas stations, a junkyard, a shopping complex, and in the middle a central overpass, granting sightlines over the surrounding area. One could picture all sorts of upgrades this level could have on the modern Frostbite engine. A larger overpass with collapsing bridges, enterable and detailed stores, massive explosions and billowing fires from all of the gas stations and oil tankers, while automobiles of every kind litter the roads in between for excellent cover options. Road Rage lived up to its name with 8 tanks, 4 Mobile AA, 2 scout helicopters, along with a wild 2 attack jets per team, making it a highway of death and destruction. Unique civilian vehicles like drivable muscle cars and semi-trucks added to the immersion and brought the combat home. With Battlefield 6 returning to combat on American soil, not only would this map fit right in with the game's theme, but surpass the original with the gritty seriousness of the Pax Armada faction instead, and simultaneously deliver an exciting vehicular slugfest on the massive scale that players want. Number 1. Strike at Karkand. This might surprise a number of people and make others jump for joy. I generally don't like the idea of remastering a map that has been remade before. There is something about playing the same map for years, even decades on end in some examples, that really bothers me. It gets far too repetitive and ends up taking the spot of other, more unique or forgotten maps, which could have provided a fresh experience. It also might have just been better to make an entirely new design. But Karkand is a bit different, I think. Last seen in the 2011 Back to Karkand DLC for Battlefield 3, it really has waited long enough for another appearance. While the BF3 version had some major upgrades on the original Battlefield 2 visuals and building quality, the overall layout of the map has proven resilient over multiple titles. The structure of the major roads, side streets, and alleyways, the slight elevation shifts, controlled rooftop access, and river bottleneck are mostly balanced well and create distinct zones of combat and engagement distances. As the map is traditionally Conquest Assault, there would be a question of whether this might stay the same or be changed to normal Conquest. Either would play well, but I think Karkand might be one of those few examples where the Conquest Assault mode works tremendously well. It would also likely translate to a great breakthrough experience, since that is naturally what the layout is designed to be. The combat of Karkand is infantry dominated, with ground armor heavily impacting the flow of the battle. A tank and IFV are the usual vehicles, although changes have been made depending on the version. If remade, my only suggestion would be to this time include a permanent or perhaps dynamic sand haze as a nod to the original. This isn't purely cosmetic, but a great way to limit sightlines and equipment abuses, and part of what made the original Battlefield 2 version so great. Given the assets and theming of Battlefield 6's Siege of Cairo, Strike at Karkand would fit right in and offer an alternative cityscape that players not only are familiar with, but comes with a renowned Battlefield history. And these are my top 5 picks for remakes in Battlefield 6. This doesn't necessarily mean that these are my favorite maps, but definitely ones which in my experience play well and would fit in the world of the game. Narrowing it down to 5 is also very difficult, so I'll just shout out some honorable mentions which came close. A few I strongly considered are Fushi Pass, Operation Harvest, and Road to Jalalabad from Battlefield 2, Tala Market from Battlefield 3, Museum and Train Dodge from Battlefield Hardline, and Amiens from Battlefield 1. I know I don't have map videos on some of those just yet, but I'll get there in due time so you can understand why I think they are worthy. I do hope you enjoyed this video, as it's not really the style of content I usually release. I'd be interested to hear your top 5 Battlefield maps you would want remastered in Battlefield 6 in the comments below.